Did you know that according to Russ Niles, in 2023, the Federal Aviation Administration issued 500,000 private pilot licenses, and only 7% of those were issued to women? Well, my name is Avery Hanna, and I am proud to say that I'm a part of that small percentage. At the end of 2023, I received my private pilot license and became a part of the 7%. Today, I will be talking about the Women in Aviation International Organization and what they do for women all over the world. The rate of female pilots is rising, but the percentage is still too low. Women in Aviation International promote women in aviation and provide services for young girls all over the world to achieve their dreams of being a pilot. Today, I will focus on the problem of the low women percentage in aviation, what the WAI will do, and a little about them, and how they help the issues, and how you can help the WAI. First off, as I mentioned previously, the percentage of women in aviation is lower than it should be. I believe in this day and age, it is ridiculous that there are 15 times more men than women in aviation, and this needs to change. And together, we can make a difference. I believe one main issue is that there are not enough women and young girls knowing about this option. I know that this is true because I was one of these women. When I was in high school, I didn't realize that being a pilot was a career option for me. I realized I wanted to be a pilot after my mother began her flight training, and I then started to train to be a pilot. If my mom hadn't started her flight training, I never would be in this career path, and I wouldn't be here today. Even though there are over 300,000 student pilots and only 6% of those are women, I don't think that it is talked about enough as a career option. Another issue for women, as well as anyone who might want to be a pilot, is the money. To get a commercial license with your certificate for flight instruction, according to ATPFlightSchool.com, it costs $108,995 to become a pilot with no previous experience, or $86,995 when starting with your private pilot license. Janine Leith on PilotsWhoAskWhy.com says that money is a huge issue for women especially, because this is a huge risk that you are asking for loans from banks from, and because flight training has no career guarantees. Next, I will talk about what the WAI does to help resolve these issues. The WAI's goal is to help women overcome the stigma and hardships when entering into this primarily men-focused career path. Women in Aviation International, on their website, their mission is to invest in our current and future workforce, build a diverse, inclusive, and sustainable aviation industry around the world. WAI formed in 1990 and in 1994 became a nonprofit. Their first annual conference was in 1990 in Arizona, and currently they have over 18,000 active WAI members. The benefits include legal advisory, scholarships, educational outreach programs, and even more. CharityNavigator.org says that the WAI earns a 3 out of 4 stars at an 82%. On the website, there is a program expense ratio that tells us how their expenses are used. In 2021, 74.4% of their expenses go to their incredible programs. The WAI has been around since 1990 and has helped women achieve their dreams and realize that they can be achieved in the first place. Kelly Murphy on WAI.org says that in March of 2024, over 100 WAI volunteers hosted 250 girls ages 8 to 18 for Girls in Aviation Day to learn about career opportunities and outreach programs and networking. At the same time as the Girls in Aviation Day was the WAI's 35th annual conference, where they awarded 131 scholarships. On their YouTube channel, there is 11 videos that spotlight 11 scholarships that were awarded over the years. Most recently was Brianna Booth, a college student at St. Louis University, who is training to be a commercial pilot. She was awarded the FedEx Express Flight Scholarship for $5,000. Scholarships help women with the money issue, and Kelly Murphy also says that since 1995, the WAI members have been awarded over $15 million in scholarship money. Finally, myself and other female aviators in my field, like Brianna Booth, would sincerely appreciate your help in supporting the WAI. On WAI.org, under the Events tab, there is information on volunteering for local chapters and even their annual conferences. Also on the website, in red font, is the Donate to WAI button. If you decide to donate, it is super simple. All you have to do is put in how much you'd like to donate, whether it is one-time or recurring, and enter all of your billing and payment information, and then you have changed the aviation workforce for better. Now that we have learned about what WAI does for female aviators, we can change the percentage of women in aviation, and WAI can help with that change by providing new opportunities and scholarships. With your help, WAI can make a difference.
2 days before the fall semester of 2022, my life took a dramatic and unexpected turn. I was pregnant. Fast forward, I have my daughter, and the Women, Infants, and Children of Illinois set me up with a home visiting program so that my baby could meet her developmental milestones and make sure that she's growing properly. This was set up through the charity of my choice, Crisis Nursery. Today, we're here to honor Dr. David M. Jones and hopefully pick a charity that aligns with his values and that he would support. For me, Crisis Nursery has offered support, friendship, and resources that I may not have had if it weren't around. I'm sure all of us here can picture a family or a child in need that we've experienced that's been through a time of crisis. And these people are who Crisis Nursery is trying to help out. I urge all of you today to support the Crisis Nursery because of all the support that they've given the different members of our community. I'll be going over the issues that they try to combat, a personal testimony from a friend, and then how we all can donate. So to start, we have to first look at the problem at hand. There are too many children in unsafe situations, and this can happen at any moment, and parents often aren't prepared for these things. A newspaper at James Madison University called Child Neglect says that 78% of the 700,000 children abuse victims suffered neglect at the hands of their caretakers. The National Children's Alliance goes on to say that that's just neglect. There's also 16% of these children that suffer physical abuse and 10% that suffer sexual. They go on to say that in 2022, there were 1,800 child deaths at the hands of their abusers. So let's think about a situation where this could happen. Maybe there's a parent in the hospital and the other parent needs more support. There could be a parent that's suffering domestic violence. Where can they go? Not everybody has the support that many of us have through family and friends when they're in times of crisis. And homeless shelters and safe houses can fill up quickly. So a lot of people, many that I even know personally, may stay in these bad situations because they're afraid and they feel they have nowhere else to go, so they just settle. But what can these people do in crisis? This is what the Crisis Nursery tries to offer. In their mission statement on their website, they talk about their island of safety that provides care for children in need. I conducted an interview with Sophie Merrick, who is a family specialist at the nursery, and she gave me more information about this island of safety and different programs that are involved too. The island of safety is 24-hour free childcare for any child that's ages 0 to 6 who may be in a time of crisis. This crisis can range from anything from abuse, neglect, needing a place to be for a parent who's stressed out. You are called to define your own crisis, says the nursery. Because of this 24-hour free care, they offer beds to homeless kids so that their parents can rest assured that their kids are okay while they find shelter elsewhere. They also have any resource that a child could possibly need: formula, wipes, snacks, clothes, so that the families can keep what they have at their house. And then Sophie and I talked about the different programs that are offered through the nursery. The first one was Bright Futures. They focus on helping kids that may have developmental delays or social delays. And what they do is they meet with a case manager to help them decide a plan of action, and they give the families resources to help their kids at home when they're not at the nursery. The Strong Families aspect of Crisis Nursery offers programs in 2 areas, Beyond Blue and Paving Pathways. Beyond Blue focuses on parents of children that are ages 0 to 1 or pregnant people who may have pre- or postnatal depression. They offer support groups for these people that are in need. The Paving Pathways is the group that I'm a part of, and it's a grant through the Illinois State Board of Education Against Child Abuse. What they do, they come to your house a couple times a month, they show you new ways that you can play with your child, and then they help you strengthen the bonds that you have between the parent and the child. If these programs don't work for you, they have a case manager that can help with more specific needs like sudden homelessness, job loss, child care loss, and anything of that nature. So now we know what this great organization can do for our community. So let's take a turn to a personal testimony. Through a program at the nursery, I reconnected with a friend, and she shared her story with me. She suffered domestic violence at the hands of her child's father, and it got so bad that she had to get a restraining order against him. The nursery helped her when she was in a time of need, helped care for her children while she had to go to court, look for jobs, and when she needed a break from being a single parent. If Crisis Nursery weren't around, let's think of what could possibly happen to this family. The kids may have to go to court with her, and they'd hear things that children are not fit to hear. Or they could even possibly suffer neglect because it just becomes too much for the mother to handle. So how can we give back to this great organization? The first and sometimes easiest way to donate is donating your money online. If you go to crisisnursery.net, there's a donate button in the top right corner of the homepage website. You can click and choose whatever amount you'd like. If that's not your speed, you could also choose to volunteer under the volunteer tab. It says there that in 2022, 4,000 volunteer hours were logged at the nursery, and you can volunteer online here. In the same tab, they have different needs that they need at the nursery: formula, snacks, wipes, diapers, things of the nature. They also have links to their Amazon and Walmart wish lists that you can buy there. Also, Charity Navigator says that it's a 4-star charity. That's the highest number of stars that it can get, with a 94%. So you know that if you're donating your money to them, that it's a good one to do. So let's recap. We've gone over the problem at hand: children in unsafe situations in our community. Crisis Nursery aims to combat that. We've looked at a personal testimony and how we all can give back. So to honor Dr. David Jones today, we got to think, what would he do? What would he value? And if I didn't inspire you, and if my friend's story didn't inspire you, I hope that you're inspired to give back through the love in your heart that you may have for families and children in need. Thank you.
I want to tell you guys a story. A little over 35 years ago, a man who, for his own privacy, we're going to go ahead and call Derek, was arrested and sentenced to 35 years in prison. And when Derek was released about a year ago, getting out of prison following the customs of most jails and prisons, Derek was given $10 and a bus ticket. But because of the length of Derek's sentence, getting out of prison, he did not know how to use the cell phones that we have and use today. Derek did not know how to use the laptops or computers we have today. He didn't have any type of credit history or credit score. He didn't have any type of rental history. Derek did not know how to get in contact with his family members or community members, and he would rather use something like a phone book than the technology we have today to get in contact with them. Derek did not even have an ID. On top of this, for the rest of his life, on any type of resume or credible source about Derek, he will be known and perceived as a felon. So I know we're all wondering, what is Derek supposed to do? How is he supposed to re-enter society as a productive member when all he has to his name is $10 and a bus ticket? Because America's incarceration rates are extremely high, Derek's story is a shared experience with many other previously incarcerated individuals. Now, we've all made mistakes, big and small, but our mistakes should never hinder us from continuing on with our lives even after we paid the consequences. Our mistakes should never stop us from dreaming of a successful future, and our mistakes should never stop us from living a life with dignity. First Followers is a re-entry program that allows formerly incarcerated individuals to get back on track and empower themselves after the dehumanizing and traumatic experience that is the American prison system. Today, I encourage all of you to donate to First Followers so that we can work against the systematic issues that are in this country's criminal justice system. I've known about First Followers since they started in 2015 and have many personal connections with a lot of the members. So today we're going to take a deeper look into the issue of mass incarceration, and from there I'll talk a little bit about the racial disparities within the criminal justice system, and then we'll talk more about First Followers and why they're such a great resource we have here in Champaign. First, let's look at mass incarceration and why it's harming so many Americans. In her essay, Access on November 17th of 2023, Dr. Ashley Nellis argues that American prisons are not any type of punishing or rehabilitation center, but rather a billion-dollar industry that the American government profits off of. She continues to talk about how mass incarceration is not due to an increase in crime, but rather because harsher sentencing laws and policies have been put into place in recent years. Now, we can even prove this solely by looking at the sentencing laws and policies that have been put into place in America in the past 40 years. Now, along with the issue of the number of prisoners we're seeing comes the issue of what's happening to those prisoners after being released. In her paper, Access on November 20th of 2023, Nicole McNerney at SCU explains that after being released from prison, people experience higher rates of mental illness. After being released, people re-enter society but have very limited access to jobs, education, housing, and family support. They are stripped away from their citizenship and branded as a criminal for the rest of their lives. So we're obviously witnessing a big issue here. People are getting out of prison more broken than when they entered. Talking about mass incarceration, it's extremely important that I talk about the racial discrimination within the criminal justice system. The criminal justice system in America disproportionately targets and affects people of color, specifically Black men. Something that really puts this into perspective for me is looking at the population rates in our very own Champaign. For example, although the Black community only takes up about 13% of the Champaign County population, they take up over 65% of the jail population. The American criminal justice system is a racialized system. We can prove this through the immense amount of stories of Black men who have been wrongly convicted. This is proven through the fact that throughout history until today, Black men tend to receive longer sentences than white men for the exact same or very similar crimes. Author Michelle Alexander talks about this in her book, The New Jim Crow, published in 2010. She writes about how we have not yet ended extreme racial discrimination in this country. All we've done is remodeled or redesigned it into the form of mass incarceration. So we have our issue, but what can you and I do? Donating to First Followers is a step that we can take to work against the systematic flaws in the American criminal justice system. First Followers has helped hundreds of formerly incarcerated individuals, and they do this in a variety of ways. After getting out of prison, a person can either go to a First Followers crew member, or they can go to the drop-in center, and from there they can basically write down a list of whatever they need. This can be a cell phone, this can be a place to sleep, clothes, getting back on track with their education, getting a job. Whatever it is, First Followers gets it done. A great resource that First Followers has is their housing properties that they own. This is for anyone who just got out of prison and they can live there for a time period for as long as they need. First Followers offers a list of programs, classes, seminars, counseling, which is extremely important, and these classes can be on a list of different topics, whether that's how to get back on track with your education, how to apply for a job, resume building, whatever it is, First Followers offers it. So your donation to First Followers would not only help one specific person, it is helping entire communities and families stay together and get back on track. I want to quickly transport us back to the story that I was telling you about at the beginning, because I know I left it at a little bit of a hopeless spot, but I promise Derek's story is not at all hopeless. A little bit over a year ago, after being released, Derek found First Followers. In the span of a year, they got him a job with Caterpillar, and from there, First Followers worked really hard to get his credit to a place where he was able to rent a house that First Followers is currently paying the rent for. So donating to First Followers is an extremely easy process. You can go to www.firstfollowersreentry.com. First Followers is able to transform lives, and we can help them in doing so. So donate so that we can work against the systematic issues in this country and help the victims of the criminal justice system. Thank you.
Children orphaned and future potential paralyzed. All of this is enabled by international support of Israel's war in Gaza. This is not some nightmare which I have dreamt about. Rather, it is a painstaking reality which I have witnessed and studied years before October 7th. Today, I stand before you all to shed light on a pressing issue that demands our attention: the dire need to shelter Palestinian refugees. As we gather here in comfort, let us not forget those who are stripped of a basic necessity, which is a safe place to call home. Join me in my donations and support to the United Nations Relief and Wellness Agency, the leading provider of hope for refugees. In this speech, I'll shine some light on the collateral damage of Israel's war. I'll move into the fact that this damage does not have to be tolerated by innocent people. Finally, I will conclude with clear and simple steps which we all can take today to put an end to this injustice. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt that livelihoods are extinguished in Gaza. As reported by European-based nonprofit Euromed Human Rights Monitor, nearly 40,000 innocent women and children alone, have been murdered since October 7th. For those 40,000, 3,000 combatants have been killed. What does that mean? That means that 13 innocent and women and children are killed for every one combatant. And somehow Israel is okay with that. You must be asking yourself, how can a 13-to-1 ratio even exist? Surely a world-class military can aim their rifles. Hey, your confusion is very justified. The story of the Barbakh family goes to show the precision and intent behind their marksmanship. Islam Barbakh, mother of the family, heard indirectly of evacuation orders telling her to leave her childhood home. She didn't know what to do. Should she follow this dangerous evacuation path, or should she stay sheltered in her home and risk bombardment? The same bombardment that rendered these 40,000 others to splatters of intestines and lungs and brains painted against their walls. Needless to say, she decided it would be safest to leave. To ensure that her children would not be mistaken for terrorists, she gave them a white flag to show their surrender, to show their peacefulness. As her children set out, leaving their childhood home, Islam Barbakh heard a bang. She watched as blood poured from her 13-year-old son's leg. Bang, bang. She heard 2 more shots, and she watched as the blood poured from his torso and his neck. Before she could even process what had happened to her son, Ramiz Barbakh rushed to his brother's side. Bang! Islam heard one final bullet, and she watched as it pierced the heart of her final son. The world watched on social media an image of the 2 boys lifeless atop one another in the street, white flag of surrender in hand. What's my point from this story? 2 innocent children died who did not need to. In addition to this clear military threat, Palestinians are suffering from medical neglect. According to American-based nonprofit International Rescue Committee, of the 36 hospitals which were initially in Gaza, 24 of them have been bombed in violation of international law. The remaining 12, doctors are performing cesarean sections and amputations without medications like anesthetics and epidurals. They're performing these operations under cell phone flashlights and are constantly surrounded by the sounds of drones and tanks. For reference, doctors here in the States don't tolerate the wrong music playlist during our operations. Needless to say, the diesel sound of a tank that's going to kill you. The worst of the situation, the blockade of food entering Gaza. This famine is killing people from starvation and causing permanent damage. It is common scientific knowledge that the nervous system depends on these fat-based cells, which we call Schwann cells and neuroglia. The way how they work, it's very similar to the rubber insulation around copper wire. The point is that without fat-rich diets getting to children, these children will not form memories. They will not be able to process their emotions, and they will not be able to move. Clearly, there's a humanitarian catastrophe. Fortunately, we do have an experienced body that can help solve this problem. The United Nations Relief and Work Agency is experienced in aiding these types of crises. According to their fact-checked website, they have provided health services to 1.9 million and have otherwise impacted the lives of 480,000 Syrians. In addition to a 4 out of 4 star rating, the United Nations did a study to see exactly where the money is going. They found that donations to UNRWA have contributed to the educations of over 500,000 students. They have established health centers, which have treated 3 million patients, and they have alleviated food insecurities for over 250,000 refugees. Bottom line, donations to UNRWA aren't going through greedy CEOs. They're going to people who need help. So they've been successful in the past, but now they need your help. Day by day, Gaza is growing more and more hellish. If we have a well-funded humanitarian group coordinating this attack, stories like the Barbakh simply wouldn't have happened. They would have been sheltered in a camp where they would have been provided food and aid, and most importantly, hope. Ironically, the United States has set an international example by slashing budgeting to this group. Clearly, we need a well-funded group to coordinate what's going on. Israel has made it clear in their policy that they do not value these innocent lives. As they have said, these are human shields which must be sacrificed. Let's get deeper than the politics here. These human shields need to be patched up. Instead of supporting one of the two groups who are focused on killing each other, we need to support the people who are focused on saving lives. That is UNRWA. I urge you all, go to unrwa.org and click the donation button. While small sustainable donations are the most impactful, they are not all what matter. You don't have to donate through money. You can lobby to your congressman. We can reverse this legislature that has cut this budgeting. We can make an impact. If this is too much, share the link on your social media. If you can inspire 5 others to take action, the impact is exponential. Whatever you do, it will make a difference.
Before we announce the winners, though, I really need to thank the people who really make this all possible. And so I would really like a shout out to Jody Littleton, who is the coordinator. Professor Jody Littleton has done an absolutely fabulous job for so many years coordinating our David Jones Persuasive Speech Contest. So I really want to thank her again. And also to Professor Brian Caffarelli. There's so many Brians in there. For the last, I don't know how many years, Brian has manned the tab room, and 14 years, and has tabulated the winning scores for the preliminary and final rounds. So thank you, Brian, for your work on this. He is also the person who creates our medals as well. So we want to thank Brian. Thank you so much, Brian. And then I really want to also thank Chris Foster, who does the wonderful video. And to our wonderful department chair, Dr. Isabel Scarborough, as well. Thank you so much for your support.
Well, we should be thanking the wonderful program director for communication.
A shout out to marketing. Absolutely. Yes. Maureen and Vivian, absolutely. Thank you for all that you do. And for sticking around so the pictures can be taken. We really appreciate that. And then I really want to thank our faculty, our preliminary round judges. Sarah Benevento, thank you very much. And then also to Alir. I don't think he could stay with us, but we really thank him too. Very nice. And of course, to our final round judges. Thank you for coming out. We appreciate you, for your support, and for all that you do. So thank you very much. And without further ado, we are going to call the winners. And we will do this in reverse order. And so when I call your name, come up, and there will be a nice medal for you. So, in fourth place, let us congratulate Avery Hanna. Woohoo! All right, Avery, there you go. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Stick around for pictures.
Yeah, stick around for pictures, please. And then in third place, let's congratulate Adam. Yep. And so Avery, $50, Adam, $100. So thank you very much, very good. And then let's congratulate our second place winner, Liz. Yep. Liz, $250. Yep. Thank you. And then we would really love to congratulate our first place winner, Amina. Yes. Congratulations, Amina. And $500 and $500 to first followers. Thank you very much. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Thank you all for participating. This is amazing, and this was a wonderful year. Hopefully you will remember this for the rest of your life.